Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonia Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk for America.
I'm Mac, CEO of National Streaming Sports Network and the host of the Mac and Jack Sports Show, and you're watching Our Lady of Sports, Sonia Pearson, host of Prim and Proper Sports. Thanks for watching.
Hey, everybody. Happy Sunday. I know y'all are not used to seeing me, but after today's post-game matchups, had to absolutely come on here and talk some sports. I'm joined by one of my special guests, one of the fam. You guys know him as the Atlanta Falcons' own Dirty Bird, my brother from Friday with the Fellas, Kevin. What's up, Kevo, the dirtiest bird? What's going on, brother?
Bird. You know I'm the dirtiest bird.
The muddiest bird. The muddy. I got you down for muddy birds.
Here we go.
It's all love, guys.
Had to change up my name, huh?
Yeah. Just a little bit, just a little poke there. Guys, thank you so much for joining us for this very special edition of the Post Game Report. Kevin was so kind to join me. And you saw Mac, the great host over there at Northeast Professional Sports. Go ahead and look for them on the Roku channel. And also follow me on YouTube, Prim and Proper Sports, and also on the Fire TV network. What a day, Kevin. I mean, I knew that these two matchups were going to be epic matchups. I knew they were going to be one for the records. I mean, ever since, let's go back even before today, yesterday's games, the freaking Commanders. I feel like I'm stunned. I am stunned, and I think I'm going to continue to be stunned for, I don't know how long it's going to take us to not be stunned with that. But, I'm giving you, your flowers. I got some red here for you, for the background today. Oh, yeah. What in the world? Let's talk about that game first, because that's the one that's the biggest shocker from yesterday.
Yeah, the Commanders just came in there and just punched the Lions in the mouth and continuously punched them the entire game. I couldn't believe. I was shocked, honestly. I thought the Lions was going, run rope shot on them, because I thought they were just going to pound the football, run the football. I think the biggest mistake was they didn't give Gibbs the ball early, and they didn't give it to him enough. 14 carries for 105 yards. I feel like that's not enough. And ultimately, it cost them in the end. They turned the ball over way too much. Golf throwing interceptions. It was just an ugly game. And you could tell that bye kind of messed with them a little bit. Mm-hmm. Man, it was an ugly. Yeah.
I felt like that too. I was like, people thought, a bye is advantageous. You get rest and everything. But golf played so bad. I thought he was playing golf. I was like, GOLF. I was like, listen, what? And then against a rookie quarterback. But this is the thing, Kevin. Now, because Dan Quinn is y'all's former head coach. He's taken the Falcons to the Super Bowl. He's only taken a small break as defensive coordinator in Dallas. This dude is still a coach at heart. Let's not get it twisted. And so this is his reintroduction to head coaching. There's no way he wasn't going to bring it. Like, this is his redemption for real. He's trying to redeem himself from that, blowout you guys had in the Super Bowl. Wouldn't you agree?
That whole thing from the Super Bowl. I always liked Dan Quinn. I never had a problem with Dan Quinn. The Falcons fans here did, but I never had a problem with Dan Quinn. I always put it on the players. And just to see what he's doing with the Commanders, I am just so happy for him and happy at what he's doing. And I just hope that they could go into Philly next week and win. But it's going to be a tall task because Philly, the Philly and that defense, man, they no joke. I'm not even going to lie to you. But I'm happy for Dan Quinn, happy for Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback in the NFC right now.
He is. He is. I was just looking at some of their stats. He absolutely is. I mean, it's outstanding to see a rookie come in and light it up. Hello, Yoli. Good evening to you. We're so sorry your Green Bay Packers were eliminated. They were another team, Kevin. We thought it was going to be the NFC North. We thought at least it was going to be the Vikings and the Lions still in it, and then versus the Eagles. And now the whole NFC North is gone.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
NFC North, they went 0-3. People talking about the Falcons in that sorry division. Our division so sorry, but they won the same amount of games that our division won. None.
Yeah. now that you look back, it's like we're all on the couch and we've been waiting for you. Welcome. We have snacks and drinks on standby.
It's an NFC East NFC
divisional.
Yeah, it's basically NFC East.
I was trying to look to see how often does that happen, that there is that's an anomaly to have the same team. I was trying to fact check it and get that information. I'm up here now looking. Like how often does that even happen? It's almost like the odds are so against that occurring. You can imagine folks in Vegas going wow right now. Anybody that did that right there.
San Francisco and the Rams did that not too long ago. They did that.
Okay. I always forget that the Rams are NFC West. I don't know where I'd be trying to put San Francisco, but yeah, there was some. I don't know if you probably remember years ago, the Panthers used to be in the NFC West long before they did that. That was like, who did this?
The Falcons was too.
Yes, I was like, what y'all doing? Like. I still don't understand though how I think it's is it Tennessee or Jacksonville? One of them are in a division with the AFC. It doesn't make sense. It might be the Colts. They got them in the South or something. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, they got the Colts in the AFC South. Yeah. That don't make sense. They need to switch. They need to switch Miami and put Miami in the AFC South and put Colts in the AFC East. Oh well, then again, they not in the East, so. They ain't like in the mid. Well, it's weird, but
it's a money thing at the end of the day. They probably just put it down to whoever want to get in and trying to make it equal. They probably try to go four teams per geographical area and probably went through that. But I don't know. I mean, are we going for the Eagles?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I like Saquon. I say that. I like Saquon, him being with the Giants, him making the transition over there to Philly. I like him. But really, I'm not a huge fan of Sirianni. Jalen Hurts, I think he's good. I think sometimes he could be a little bit overrated. But I think the Eagles are gonna win. I mean, I'm going for the Commanders because, like I said, I love my man Dan Quinn, but yeah, I would be surprised if the Eagles won.
And see, that's the thing. I don't want the Eagles to win because as a kid, before we had the Panthers, I was a Redskins fan. I mean, that's what they called them back then. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like, Eagles, y'all been here before. The Redskins / Commanders have not been in the playoffs since 1991. Like, that is just as equally, they had just the right to be there as Detroit did, who had never been, and I think their last playoff win was like 92. And so they, it's kind of like everybody loves an underdog story. And so, but that game, Jaden Daniels, to come in as a rookie, to have been on the heels of Philadelphia all season long, they literally were neck and neck with them, like a game or two behind them. And then to now be at the grand finale, like one of these teams will not go to the Super Bowl and one of these teams win. The entire NFC the title is going to be held by an NFC East contender.
Mm-hmm.
That is wild.
That is. And as quiet as kept, he got more playoff wins than my quarterback right now, Kirk Cousins. He got the same amount of playoff wins as Dak Prescott. I mean, and these guys, if you combine their money, the total money that they're going to be accumulating is over $1 billion, and that's crazy.
I mean, how do you come into the league and just go? Even if Washington loses, to come in and you literally went to the top. I mean, it don't even matter at this point for real. It does, but it's like at a minimum, you're at the top or number 2 in the whole NFC. That is huge. And you took down the number 1 seed. Let's be clear.
Oh, yeah. They took down the number 1 seed. I mean, they was the number 2 pick. They had the number 2 pick in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And now you playing for the NFC Championship. That's rare air.
That's what I'm saying. There's so many anomalies. It's so many different anomalies, Kevin, with this. Like, this is exciting because, the Commanders don't really have a lot of fan base that people hate. You never really hear people say, I can't stand Washington fans. So they have a lot of people that are really like, hey, we hope they do it. Philadelphia, y'all was here in 2018, 2020, wherever it was, 2017. I guess, they say the way the NFL is set up that teams are supposed to be able to go back to the playoffs every 7 to 10 years. And hey, here it is. I mean, honestly, I thought the Eagles were supposed to be here last year until they just crashed and burned, them and Miami.
Yeah, they crashed and burned last year.
They had some stuff going on in the locker room. That wasn't a performance issue at all. So shout out to Jalen Hurts that he's able to rein in his crew again and get some control of the locker room clearly. I'm up here now trying to share this live. By the way, guys, TikTok is back.
Oh, it's back.
It's back. I happened to go on it earlier and it was like, we're back, welcome back, but you can't do any lives. So I've just done a couple of posts. I'm okay with that. But I'm excited about that because I had just gotten an email about setting up my Amazon shop. And y'all know I'm all about trying to make money. I was like, oh, Amazon shop? I'm worthy of that. So thank you. And so you guys make sure you keep points on that. Kevin, let's see. While we're on here, I am trying to look up some stuff. There was and we're kind of all over the place. I kind of want to stay back and then come up, but it's just so exciting. It's almost like, wait a minute. Let me just hold this over here, put a pin in this, even though I don't want to. I'm just ready to talk about this Baltimore game. The other matchup yesterday, the AFC matchup, the Texans. I mean, I wanted the Chiefs to go down, just like Jaden Daniels and them took down the Detroit Lions. I was rooting for CJ Stroud to take down Gonzo.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the chefs and the refs.
Yeah. I mean, but as much as it was like, I would say, especially that hit on Mahomes, as much as we want to blame the refs on that, they also, they made plays. The Chiefs made plays. The Kelsey wide open in the middle of the field.
Especially when he was falling down and just,
it
looked like he just threw the ball up. Like, just,
you gotta beat him. You gotta beat him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta sack him. You can't let him, because when Superman put that cape on, you know what I mean? He gonna fly. And that's exactly what he did. I mean, that completion was just insane.
I saw that and I wanted to turn my TV off. I was like, he just looks like he begs for whatever. I mean, even they were talking about it yesterday. Troy Aikman, some of those penalties, come on, dude. He oversells it. He's like LeBron.
Let's not go to LeBron here.
LeBron be overselling penalties.
I know the one you talk about, the one where he was going out of bounds and did all that flop. That was a flop. But when you have that cachet, when you have that type of ranking in the NFL, you get those calls. Unfortunately, I hate to say it like that.
That's what I'm saying. Because they love him.
You get those type of calls. I mean, that's what happens when you the best, You get those type of calls. I mean, I wish my guy could get those type of calls, but my guy ain't the best. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is.
I feel like, but it shouldn't be. I mean, I remember when Cam Newton was in the league and he was hit a bunch of times and everybody was trying to call, attention to that. He wasn't overselling it. He legit was not getting any calls. So
True,
how do you?
But Cam brought the punishment. That's the difference.
So did Patrick. You want to be a running back? You want to come out the pocket?
True, but Cam was more of a Cam was 6'6", 250.
Yeah, 6'5", 250, 245. Yeah.
Cam was running over folks. I mean, Pat ain't doing that. Pat ain't doing that.
Pat ain't doing that, but he definitely wants to. I don't know. Are you going for? Do you want the Chiefs to win?
I just wouldn't be surprised if they did. I mean, honestly, I wanted the Ravens to win. Now I know the Chiefs are going to win. I mean, it looked like it's set in stone. The Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't see Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo maybe can go to Kansas City and win, but I don't really see it all that much because the Chiefs are just the Chiefs at this point. Like a three-peat would just be ridiculous. Like we got to put Patrick Mahomes number one of all time if he was the three-peat, if they was the three-peat, because that's rare air. I don't think no NFL team has ever done that.
I mean, their depth chart is just ridiculous. I mean, they always say defense wins championships, but then you got their offense is stacked. They got Xavier Worthy, of course, DJ Humphries, Joe Thuney. But see, this year they had, let's see, they just had a lot. I mean, we outside of Kelsey, just of course Pacheco. I mean,
they got guys.
D Hop went over there.
They got a squad. I mean,
and then on their defense, of course, they got Chris Jones at the cornerstone of it all. They, shout out to them for re-signing him. Who was it right at the end of the last season that they did not re-sign? Everybody thought it was going to be crucial. I can't remember who it was.
Last season? Well, I don't know. I just know that. I know that they let Tyreek Hill go. That train is still moving.
Yes, yes.
Tyreek Hill. Hill like, can I come back, guys? I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, dude. I mean, he just to the practice roster so he can try to get him a ring, right?
Right.
I'm just trying to see. Let's see.
I know Rasheed Rice. Rasheed Rice, they wide receiver. He got hurt in the beginning of the season.
That's what's wild.
Yeah, that was wild. That's their number one.
That is what's wild. Let's see. I'm trying to think. This really bothers me when I can't think of who it is. But they were determining. The thing was they were determining whether to play Chris Jones or this other dude.
Oh, so, I know you talking about Ladarius Sneed.
Yes.
Yeah. He went to Tennessee. Yeah.
Yes, I thought that was gonna be a big miss for them.
And look at Tennessee. They got the number one pick in the draft. You know what I mean? Like, he down there. At least he got paid. But they're playing next week.
So I mean, you mentioned something that's interesting to me. These teams that consistently get the top 5 trades because every single year they are horrible. I mean, Carolina was lined up for a while, and we're still not out of the top 10. Let's be clear. But like, how do you even have a success? How do teams? Let's put it like this. Let's back up for a minute. So Detroit is out. This was their second run. Dan Campbell talked about last year how difficult it was for him to get back and for anybody to get back to the playoffs. They kept everybody that they had, including their team management system as far as coaching and coaching staff. They get all the way back to this place. This is almost like there's pit stop every year. This is where they were last year. Can't get to the NFC. They're one stop away. And this year they were even the number 1 seed. And now they're gone. And now you got people looking for, Johnson to join them as head coach. People are lining up to get part of their coaching staff as positions at other teams. Then you got to think about it. The nucleus is probably going to leave. Somebody's going to be trying to pay big money for Jahmyr Gibbs, Laporta. Like, they're going to try to split this team up because at this point, even though y'all traded for Jared Goff is not it for the Lions.
Yeah.
Now you thought it looked like it was, but Stafford went out to the Rams and already got him a ring off the rip, like as soon as he got there. So you should have probably kept the gunslinger and tried to get all the people you had in there now.
Yeah. I mean, these teams, if you look at all these teams, the main constant is that quarterback position. You got Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, them three, the quarterback position. Those three teams are always in it because of the quarterback position. The Bengals would be in it if their defense was just a little bit better.
Yeah, they were doing so good a couple years ago, literally like in 21-22. The Bengals was like, but then they let go of Mixon, and I feel like that was a mistake.
Losing Mixon was a huge mistake. And it benefited well for the Texans.
Yeah.
The Texans have a quarterback. That quarterback being that mainstay and that quarterback, making the plays that they, when you got that high profile quarterback, you're set in stone.
Yeah.
Like, all you need now is just to make sure your team is just you got the pieces around them to just keep the train moving. Make the defense better. Because that's the reason why you don't see the Chiefs go after the big name wide receivers all the time. They'll go in the draft and maybe draft a guy, later on, because Patrick Mahomes is that guy. You know what I'm saying? They'll bring in defensive players and make the defense a little bit better. So maybe Patrick Mahomes can just score on that last drive. Just like even today with Lamar. We're not gonna go into that game.
We gonna get it. Okay, if we gonna get there.
But you bring in other players, that defense is as good as that defense is. The offensive line is as good as it is. But Lamar is that mainstay. Even the same thing with Josh Allen. Josh Allen, like, as crazy as this sounds, that he lost his best wide receiver in Stephon Diggs and got better. Yes. How crazy is that?
How is that? I was thinking about Stephon Diggs today.
Mm-hmm. And he got better. His numbers are better. That goes to show the quarterback is the mainstay. The quarterback, if you got you a quarterback, it don't matter about what else is around you. It just can't be that much trash. Like, you can't just surround them with just straight nothing. Like, you let them go. You brought in Amari Cooper. You already had James. You drafted James Cook a couple years ago from Georgia.
Yeah, that was a big draft. Yeah.
Brought in Ray Davis from the rookie running back.
Mm-hmm.
Offensive line has already missed that. You drafted a wide receiver. You know what I mean? They already had they drafted the pieces. Quarterback is the mainstay. As long as you got a quarterback, you good.
Yeah, they're 16-2 now. Like, I don't even remember who beat them, but I know the Panthers almost beat them. I will put that out there. So that's what made me think, okay, and the Panthers almost beat them when Bryce hadn't even turned that corner of playing better yet. So in my mind, I feel like y'all, Chiefs can be taken down, but the score is not always indicative of what the game actually looked like. You have turnovers, you have penalties, you have poor clock management that all add up to what the final score looks like. I mean, in the first quarter alone, the Texans and Chiefs game, it looked like it was going to be a good game. It was 3-6. It was still in a game. Even at halftime, they were still in the game. Like, they were neck and neck, only like a score apart. And then it just seems like even in the third quarter, Kansas City didn't even score anything. And so the Texans it really felt like to me that the Texans could pull this upset. Then they go all the way down. And then in the fourth quarter, that's almost like when it seemed like Kansas City got their win and they went ahead and put 10 up as opposed to Houston's safety that they only got. I mean, this team is playing comparable to how the Patriots played with Tom Brady. They were always a fourth quarter team. You can never count them out. I mean, I don't want to put poke the bear, but Kevin, you can attest to this in the Super Bowl. I mean, you guys were up significantly. There's no way nobody should have ever come back from that deficit. Yeah. And so Kansas City is playing the same way. Like, you will think they're out of the game. It's almost like they're just taking a break. Like, they're just getting their last win. And that's a scary team. For most teams have already gotten tired by that fourth quarter. Not Kansas City. It's almost like they chillax halfway through and then step on the gas.
And sometimes like, I'm not gonna sit here and say the refs and then like that. Sometimes you get a little help, and when you get that help, you have to execute. You get the help from the referees. You got.
Oh, I think they absolutely help them.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't even have to. Everybody thinks that, like these freaking what's the ref's name? Mayor, whatever. With him at the helm, they are undefeated, and he was there last night too. He's at every, they literally talked about it. Like, if everybody sees this, why is this man allowed to call these games? If everybody is pointing this out, that this head ref is the one that every single time they're playing, he is the difference maker. Let's see what this dude's name is. Clay Martin. That's his name. They are undefeated with him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but it is what it is, You still got to go out there and play. You still, you can't. That's why you can't blame the refs. As much as you want to, you can't blame the refs.
Yeah, you got to play good enough that there's no question that the refs helped you.
Because only Falcons fans will remember they called 2 straight holding penalties on that last drive after Julio made that catch.
Yep.
Nobody else remembers it, but most Falcons fans do.
Yeah.
But nobody else will remember it. What they're going to remember is the legacy of Tom Brady coming back from that 28-3 lead. They're not going to remember the penalties that was called in that game. Yeah. Because it's irrelevant at this point. You know what I mean? Game already over. Just like yesterday. Damn, nobody cared about that late hit. Nobody cared about that late hit. Why?
Exactly.
The game is over. They lost the game.
Yeah, when it's like those moments are overshadowed, but you remember, kind of like to this day, I haven't even watched the Panthers' whole Super Bowl. Once I saw Cam not go for the ball, I never watched it anymore. I literally, to this day, it is still on my little TiVo or whatever recorded. I have not brought myself to watch that game. Matter of fact, I was watching it at my best friend's house, and I left in tears. I was literally crying at like around halftime. I went home. I never watched it. The next day, it felt like somebody died. And I could only imagine to be actually winning, because y'all were actually winning.
Yeah.
And then, but like you said, nobody else remembers nothing but the memes, but y'all remember.
Oh,
and
yeah,
so,
we'll remember.
Yeah.
I remember the 2 holding calls they called on Jake Matthews consecutively that kicked us out of field goal range. Then the sack that kicked us out. I remember it like it was yesterday. But nobody else is going to remember. What they remember is that 28-3. That's what they remember.
I was that time Super Bowl was around my birthday. It was for a while. They just moved it up with this extra week. And I was on a cruise in the middle of the ocean. And so many Falcon fans was on there with red shirts. I was like, oh, they must be having a Super Bowl party. So I had on my Cam Newton jersey. I was like, let me just ask people if they're from Georgia, And they were not. Most of the people were not. They just hated the Patriots. I was like, oh, this ocean about to be full of jerseys tomorrow morning. And because I was like, they're not going to win. And they were like, girl, you just hate. And I said, okay, if they, y'all had just got the new stadium, I was like, I was on the bandwagon for, okay, I do live here. If they win, they deserve it. I'm going to congratulate them. I'm not going to even be like, no, I'm going to actually root for them to win. And I wore red and black that Friday to work before I left. And they had a whole pep rally. I just wouldn't wear a Falcon shirt. Let's be clear. But so when I saw that, I was like, dang, Tom, is Tom sick? Tom, you gonna let them blow you out? I literally was saying that, like, you gonna let them blow you out like this? Thomas Fitzpatrick Brady was not. And this is what Patrick Mahomes is today.
And that's what he is today.
And that's why people hate him. It's a continuation of the Patriots that people always did not like. And at this point now, we have to bring the race card in. He's now, people want you to root for him because he's a brother. And I'm just like, I don't care. People gonna get mad, but this is just me. Gonzo is not really a full brother. He may be, I know he may have a brother for a daddy, but he has tried to make himself as non-brotherish as possible. His wife is not a sister, and them kids is not. So he's tried to colonize himself, like Kendrick Lamar said about Drake.
Your brother, end of the day, So
yeah, I know. People probably look at me and be like, girl, you got some nerve. Look how light you are. Are you kidding me? What's your mama? What's your daddy? And then when I start telling, they be like, yeah, be quiet. So, But even Will Anderson, the Texas linebacker, he went out there and was like, hey, we knew it was going to be us versus the refs going into the game. Like these players even were saying that. Like
they didn't say the refs. He said us versus everybody. He said,
well, they got him quoted as saying the refs.
He probably did, but I remember I heard him and D'Amico say it's us versus everybody, but they were referring to the refs.
Yeah, and you know what? But you got to be careful now, honey, because AI be twisting everybody's stuff. I mean, they done had a press conference with Mike Tomlin up there cussing people out. You know, Mike ain't talking like that at no press conference. Yeah. But this AI stuff is scary. I'm serious. Like somebody could be AI me right now.
Yeah, you get fines and all that.
Huh?
They be getting fined and all that because you can't mention the rest or else you're gonna get fined. So I'm sure they just said, like I said, that's why they said it's us versus everybody. Because that's what they weren't trying to sit here and put it. Oh, it's us against the rest.
And you know what? I didn't know they could say that. I didn't know they couldn't say the refs. Let's see. Let me see what they got them saying.
I said they had their opportunities.
Nah, they got him as saying refs. So he probably gonna get fined.
Yeah, he probably is.
They said he's irked by a penalty. Yep, they're gonna get this on ESPN and stuff, man. Yeah, they got him, bro. They got him. Yep, he said it on NFL.com. They got it as quoted him saying us versus the refs. So he gonna take that fine on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that's no as they said, no cap. He actually said it. So
yeah, he did.
Yep, you see it.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't that crazy? I guess he's seeing it. I don't know how much they're gonna find it, but it was worth it. Dang. Yeah, it's on ESPN, it's everywhere. So with that being said, now you got the refs. The Chiefs get ready to go against the Bills. This is gonna be a classic rematch from 2020. And I'm going for the Bills. I think half the country probably is going to go for Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a standout quarterback. Before we get to that game, let's talk about we talked about the Commanders game. We talked about Jane Daniels. Let's flip to today's games and the implications. That means let's talk about the Eagles game from earlier. Mm-hmm. I just, the Eagles and the Rams, that was a close call game. Kevin, what were your thoughts on that game?
So when I look at that game, Eagles could have literally seriously lost that game. Like they seriously could have lost that game.
Yeah.
The turnovers is what killed the Rams. The turnovers completely because it was a game the entire game. Like even when they jumped up that 14 and the Rams went right down the field, scored, and had the chance at the end of the game to just go down there and score, it shouldn't even have gotten to that point. But the turnovers earlier in the game, the fumbles, the fumble by Kyron Williams, the fumble by Matthew Stafford, those key turnovers when you're driving the football affects so much because the momentum just straight vanished. Mm-hmm. I mean, and that's how they was able to get that 2-score lead, and them trying to go down there and get that late touchdown. That cost them. I mean, and then it's the weather, the snowing and stuff like that. It just made the game even more muckier. Jalen Hurts almost got hurt in the game. He almost hurt. I think he hurt his knee, so I don't know his status. I'm sure he's gonna play, but he ain't gonna be 100% next game. He probably won't even be 80% next game. Because he took a bad knee, and that adrenaline gonna wear off.
Yep, he's somewhere right now getting cortisone shots, and let's hope it's nothing that he needs like major stuff done, like beyond a couple of bandages, because they got to turn right back around in less than 7 days now, because it's now Sunday night. They got, they got to travel.
They staying in Philly.
No, they're still in Philly. They got the home team, but they got to get ready. They got to go and practice and get ready for these guys coming in here. And Washington ain't got far to go at all. They just riding right up the street, honestly. What, an hour and a half to Philly from DC? Super quick game. They, they may stay there because it's such a short turnaround, and they got to be able to practice and what have you. The good thing about these two teams is they're both used to the same weather elements. You can't use that out as a balance, because I think that's what really also helped the Eagles beat the Rams. I mean, it was slippery out there. LA ain't getting no snow. I mean, they're used to traveling and playing games in inclement weather, but today it was like, whoa. And Kevin, even here for us in Atlanta, this is where we are, it's supposed to be 17 degrees tonight.
Oh, yeah.
I went to church this morning and it was 53 degrees, and I got out the car, got out the truck, went on in the church, no jacket on. I come out, you could feel the noticeable difference. It had dropped like 15 degrees. It was in the 40s when I came out of church. And then by the time 4 o'clock hit, it's in the 30s. And then it was saying it felt like 24. So
Freezing.
If it's freezing like that in the A, imagine in the Northeast what it feels like. And they are calling for a very cold week. Tomorrow, is Inauguration Day. And of course, Dr. Martin Luther King Day. Shout out to Dr. Martin Luther King and his legacy. And then at 12 o'clock, the inauguration, no comment. It's going to be blustery cold, so much that the inauguration was moved inside. Go figure. Now, tomorrow is not going to be the coldest inauguration they have on record, because they were talking about there was one year that it was 7 degrees, but there was also a time that it was raining real bad. They used to have an inauguration like in April, and one of the presidential candidates got wet during the rain, and he died a month later from pneumonia. So they're not taking no chances with that. So the inauguration is inside tomorrow at noon. But back to all that with the weather. So, I mean, do you think the weather really, Miami and them, they have it set up where the other team, the opponent, is always in the sun. So every team has a little bit of way they can kind of use the weather to their advantage when they're extreme heat or extreme cold. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. I mean, as bad as the weather did affect the game, like you saw players slipping and stuff like that on with turf, on the turf or whatever. But most of it, I would say, is like guys, like I said, they just didn't execute. They just because they went, like I said, when that one, they went down there and just did quick passes, boom, 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 and got right down the field. So it didn't, as much as it didn't affect them as much as people would probably say. I probably would say it did maybe on the last drive, maybe, but I didn't think it affected them too much. I mean, like I said, the ball, Matt Stafford, he got that type of arm where, he can get it anywhere. But guys, I would say a couple guys were dropping the ball. I probably would say it was affecting more so the guys in this Baltimore game than it was affecting more, guys in that game, because, like I said, they had every chance. They had every chance to go right down the field and score. It's
just so rough when we see these turnovers and penalties that you're like, when you're in a game that close, you cannot let the simplest thing, and even down to their field goals. Like, what is going on? It's almost like a field goal curse with these kickers. I mean, the first half, Philadelphia won. Philadelphia got on the gas right away, 13-7 in the first quarter. Then in the second quarter, LA was like, okay, we're just going to hold you scoreless. They went ahead and got up there and got them 3 points, even though the Rams didn't get them any points. And then you turn around and they're back neck and neck in the third quarter, 5-3. And then you turn around later on and you got 7-12. So this game could have gone either way early. I don't know. Eagles fans are happy. LA fans finished for the LA team finishes 11-8 for the season, which is shocking because it seemed like they were so much better, but they were one of these teams that at the end of the season, they kind of just turned things around and just kept it going. I mean, we've seen a lot of underdogs just kind of rise to the top, right, Kevin?
Oh, yeah. A lot of the underdogs. It was an underdog weekend for sure.
Yeah. So Matt Stafford had 26 out of 44 passes for 324 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts only 15 out of 20 for 128 yards, but they still won. So that lets you know the quarterback matchup is not always what's consistent about the game. Rushing yards, you got Kay Williams for the Rams. He had 106 yards. And Saquon looks like was held to 205 yards. That means he should have broken Eric Dickerson's record. Now, I think he was 200 yards short. And he had 2 touchdowns, 26 carries. Puka Nacua for the Rams, 97 yards, 6 receptions. And for the Eagles, D. Goddard had the 4 receptions for 56 yards. Those were the big players in the game. And, those were the difference makers. Let's be clear. But like I said, sometimes this game comes down to field goals and missed PATs and all that stuff. And those things come back to really bite you. Let's move on over to the Buffalo game today. We talked about it a little bit, but let's talk about it a little bit more in depth. That game came all the way down to the wire, just like we thought it would. Buffalo and Baltimore, the AFC top of the divisions, both of those teams looking stellar all year, all season. We've talked about Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson almost in the same sentences. You almost couldn't talk about one without bringing out the other one. 25-27. Kevin, in my opinion, this game came down to those 2 missed field goals and that 2-point conversion that was missed, that was dropped. And I just knew that it was caught, but because it had started snowing, it was slippery, and there you have it.
It goes back to the turn. To me, it was the turnovers. Baltimore consistently moved the ball the entire game.
Yep.
They got down there on the 12, bad snap. Lamar gets it, tries to switch hands, they punch the ball out, fumble. They go all the way down there, get a short field and score. The interception Lamar threw earlier and before that, but granted, that interception didn't cost them anything.
Mm-hmm.
Then the fumble from Mark Andrews. Those plays, to beat a team, you can't have those plays, especially when you're consistently moving the football. Mm-hmm. Derrick Henry you saw Derrick Henry starting to lean on him a little bit. You saw Derrick Henry starting to pound him. And then you had an opportunity to get it to overtime. Mark Andrews again, possible Hall of Fame tight end. I don't know. Possible. But him dropping that pass, that was big.
That was huge. And it looked like it was caught. That's why I was like, wait a minute. And you saw me, we all have a group chat. Everybody don't know me, Kevin, J Train, and A Train, and Friday Night with the Fellas. We have a group chat. And I was like, yes. And then I was like, wait a minute. It wasn't even caught because, from our angle, when you first look at it, you really can't tell. But the fact that it wasn't even caught was heartbreaking. And so, for me to look at that and to be like, that was so pivotal. Even before that play, I was like, the only way they win is they do a 2-point conversion and hope for overtime. And lo and behold, they went for the 2-point conversion, but they didn't even get it.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even get it.
And that was costly. I mean, but in all honesty, if they just had kicked those 2 extra points, the game would have been tied if they just kicked the extra point, but they didn't kick the extra point. So it was just like I said, Baltimore just shot themselves in the foot consistently. The defense played okay. They started playing better in that second half, but man, you just can't. That's why I say you can't turn the ball over. You cannot turn the ball over, especially when you're consistently moving the ball. You cannot turn it over, and that's what happened. They turned the ball over in the key moments, and the thing is, the Buffalo Bills, they didn't turn the ball over not one time.
That's what I'm looking at. That's exactly what I'm about to say. It doesn't look like they
3-0 on the turnover margin. That's why I say Baltimore. That's why I text in the group. Baltimore does not deserve to win this game. Like, as much as I want them to win, they don't deserve to win this game. They turned the ball over way too much. Lamar Jackson was just the sugarcoat. Just sugarcoated everything, but they didn't deserve to win that game.
I am just bothered by that. Baltimore really went through a lot to try to get Derrick Henry. I mean, I don't mean like went through a lot, but they put up, they went after who they needed to get to try to get some help down there for Lamar Jackson to take the run game off of him. And lo and behold, they're in the same position they were. All these teams that are here now, with the exception of, I think, the Commanders, of course, and the Texans, they were almost in the same position last year. This is just a repeat of the whole playoff picture. Everybody that's there right now, except for Washington, was there last year. With the exception of every now and then you have Joe Burrow, the Bengals, you might have them in there. But I am absolutely heartbroken for the Ravens, just like I was for Detroit. I mean, I just felt like they really worked during the regular season to get here. And I'm of the belief that if you've put in the work during the regular season, you shouldn't lose on a fluke in the playoffs. But sometimes that's what it comes down to.
That's what it comes down to. The two teams I picked to go to the Super Bowl, the Ravens and the Lions, they did the two things that you're not supposed to do. They turned that football over way too much.
That's the same people I picked. I think I had the Lions. Yeah, Lions and Ravens.
And they turned that ball over way too much, both of them. And ultimately it cost them,
This game was tied in the first quarter. Second quarter, Buffalo blew out 14, put 14 up on the board. Only 3 for Baltimore. They just could not convert in the red zone. Could not convert on third down. I think there was a couple times they went 3 and out. And like you said, Buffalo just kept it on. However, in the third quarter, after the half, it did look promising that Baltimore came out renewed after the half. At least that's how I felt. They held Buffalo to no points, and they got on the board with 9, which got them really back in the game, which was great. And even in the last quarter, they both tied 6-6 apiece. But that lets you know nobody made that extra point. Nobody converted. But at this point, it was just a heartbreaker. It was an absolute heartbreaker. I know that the Ravens will be here again. They're going to get to work real quick. They have I think they're probably like number 30 in the draft or whatever. They'll probably trade up, but they also got a draft from the Panthers, a draft pick from us, because they had picked up Deontay Johnson from us. However, let me see. No, they're giving us a pick. My bad. So they're giving us, I think, their first pick, which, by the way, Deontay Johnson is no longer in the league. He went through 4 teams within like a 4-month radius and was doing everything from, like, he played for the Panthers, was doing good, went to Baltimore, refused to suit up, refused to practice, and then they traded him to the Texans. He did play out there for a little bit, but I don't know what happened, but now he's out of the league. There was a big story. It sounds like some mental health stuff. So, we hope he's okay. But
he wasn't getting the ball,
They could have, but the Ravens could have used him today, is why I was bringing that up. That could have been a difference maker. Now, they already, Zay Flowers was out. That was a huge void. Even though Zay was projected to come back after the regular season, he was still, he's still healing up from surgery. So they put a lot of pressure on, likely. They were, they were banking on him for everything. So between him, Henry, and Lamar, that literally, those were the 3 top performers of this game. Lamar Jackson, 2 touchdowns, 18 for 25, 254 yards, put up a lot of yards. Derrick Henry, only 1 touchdown, shockingly, but that's because of the Buffalo defense. They were in double coverage on him at all times. 16 carries, 84 yards. And Isaiah Likely, 1 touchdown, 4 receptions, 73 yards. But then when you flip the script, this is why Baltimore should have won this game. Josh Allen only had 127 yards, Kevin.
Oh, yeah. All right. Oh, trust me. All right. No, Josh
Cook
Allen
only has 67 yards, and Shakir only has 67. What in the heck?
So these are their scoring drives. That first drive, they went right down the field. The one drive where they had that short field, that was off the Lamar fumble. And they was able to get, they only had to go 20 yards. And then they called the most questionable pass interference call that I have ever seen.
Yep.
When I saw that, I was like, wow.
This is rigged.
Hometown call.
This is what y'all want.
both jockeying for position. Like, it's like you can't call that there, but they called it. And that's why I tell people, when you at home, that's why in the regular season you need to win games, because that's why those close games that you lose, like the toe on the line against Kansas City, if you win that game, you also win that game against Pittsburgh when you went to Pittsburgh, that first time they played them, you get that home field advantage against Buffalo.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? You won at home, so you had to go on the road. You played them, and you lose that game. That's what happens.
I mean,
you don't get that call.
Do they get rid of their kicker? Do they get rid of his name Fairbairn? No, that's
that's Houston's kicker.
Yeah, that's Houston. Mitchell.
Justin Tucker, he was great today. He didn't miss a kick today.
No, I'm talking about Baltimore. Do they get rid of Mitchell?
Tucker, he didn't miss a kick today. He was great today. Yeah, he was great today. Fairbairn yesterday, he sucked.
Yeah, but no, Baltimore's kicker, Mitchell.
Who? No, he didn't miss a kick today. Justin Tucker?
No, not Justin Tucker. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, you're right. I'm looking at the return kicker, the kick return. Justin Tucker was 100% today. Mm-hmm. But when they went for that 2-point conversion, that messed them up. But yeah, you're right. Going back in yesterday's game, I was like, don't give him the opportunity to kick anymore.
Yeah, he can't. Yeah, and the crazy thing about it, he was the best kicker all year.
I know. So wait. So let's be clear. Before he was the best kicker, they had Eddie Pinheiro from the Panthers ranked the highest kicker. And as soon as they, like week number 9, they were like, yeah, he hasn't missed none all week. As soon as they said that, Eddie P started missing everything. It's almost like the announcers jinxed him. And then that's when Fairbairn came up.
Yeah, I believe in that announcer jinx. I hate when they caught the announcer. I hate the announcer jinx.
Yeah.
I hate when they say, "Oh, he hasn't missed a kick all year." I'm like, he finna miss this kick now. Even today when they were saying it with Tucker, because Tucker was kicking today, they was talking about Tucker. He's probably the greatest kicker. I'm looking like, yeah, he finna miss this kick, just because y'all sitting here talking about it.
I mean, I guess it's just playoff fluke, so they'll bring him back. You don't think nobody not losing their job? Oh no.
I mean, they still solid kickers end of the day. I mean, especially Tucker. Tucker Hall of Fame. He definitely his job is so secure. He ain't going nowhere. And even if he did get released, somebody else gonna pick him up the next day.
Yeah, the next day.
Yeah, so it's like if Mike Tomlin get fired, Mike Tomlin will have guys that's coaches. They checking in with the owner like we still good.
Yeah, right. You still okay over there? He ain't gonna have time to even blink. It take him a while to get his eyes down anyway. But by the time he go up, he already got a new job.
Yeah, I love Mike Tomlin. I love Mike T.
Yeah, he a gangster. He need to go down there to Dallas and take over.
Jerry Jones, he won't give Mike T enough power.
Yeah, I know. But if he did, imagine with that talent and Dak Prescott and that discipline, if Jerry would just allow somebody to come in. See, that's why the coaching carousel is what it is down there. They get them a coach for like 4 or 5 years, and then Jerry's like, okay, you want somebody passive. You don't want nobody that's come in there and take control. You want somebody that you can still puppeteer and from the sidelines and put everything out there. That's why they put Trey Lance in and didn't pay Cooper Rush that last game. They ain't have no reason to bench Cooper. Dallas wasn't going nowhere. They're just trying to save money. And that's because Jerry is a billionaire. He's going to save money. He's like, just put Trey Lance in there. So now Cooper Rush need to be looking for him a job, because I wouldn't even stay with no team that would just, short me my money like that. That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, but yeah, so we got big games coming up next week. Next week is the grand finale of the AFC and the NFC championship games. We got the Commanders and Eagles at 3:00. They're giving everybody time enough to go to church and eat dinner and then come home. Like, ain't no 1:00 game, so y'all got time to even speak to people you want to speak to as you leaving for the dismissal and everything. And that game is gonna be big. It's the NFC East divisional. Kevin, what you think about that game?
I don't know. It's gonna be a tough game. I mean, last game that they played, that was the game that Jalen Hurts got concussed in. So,
oh yeah,
it's gonna be a tough game. I mean, but granted, Washington cannot stop the run. They can't stop the run and say they like. So I look to see Saquon have a big game. I look to see Jalen Hurts probably to have a big game. Even on the ground. Maybe, especially with the knee being hurt. I don't know, maybe. But I know Saquon is going to have a big-time game. I look to see that. And, just see it. I'm just interested to see if Jaden Daniels, is he going to still be hot? I mean,
yeah.
Is he going to torch that Eagles defense? Because they didn't look great today.
It would be great. So you got the Eagles? Is that who you want to win also, or that's who you just think is going to win?
Oh, the Eagles going to win. They just got too much talent. And they're going to be at home. I can't see them losing at home. Especially with that crowd. Like I said, they got way too much talent on both sides of the football.
Yeah, we got a lot of Eagles fans.
Kansas City versus Philly. I see it being a rematch. I see that rematch. They wanted that rematch They wanted that rematch last year. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to happen again, to be honest.
Yeah, and I'm an underdog rooter. I still feel like the way Jaden and them played Detroit, if they play like that against the Eagles, look out. I'm looking for an upset alert. I'm looking for the underdog. I'm looking for Dan Quinn to be redemption, to show that, hey, I can go all the way and actually win this time. And that's what I'm looking for. Hi, Karen. How are you? Thanks for jumping on. Still lots of respect for Jaden Daniels, but go Eagles, pulling for Saquon and the Bama guys. Thank you for joining us tonight, Karen. She's always supporting the lives, and she always shares. Karen's still waiting for you to come on here, because Karen is one of these people. I thought I'd be having connections to everywhere. Karen was born in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. She lives in North Carolina now, and it was something else. She lived in Philly for a minute, went to college in Alabama. It's like she be rooting for all these teams because she has connections everywhere. So she be sounding like me, but she be legit like, okay. So she's rooting for the Eagles for now, but I know she wants Kansas City to win because one of her friends was at the game freezing cold, and she was rooting for them. But I'm going for the Commanders on this for the upset. It might not be a blowout. It's probably going to come down to even maybe a safety. But I feel like these two teams have played each other. They see each other multiple times every year. They always see each other during the regular season, and this is going to be their third meetup this year because they've already played twice. So I'm looking to see what was their outcome last time they met. Kevin, can you check that for me?
Oh, that was when the Jalen Daniels had that big drive, to come back, and they won that game. That was basically, I wouldn't say it's his coming out party, but that was his, hey guy, I'm here. I'm gonna be a problem. Be a problem for y'all guys for years to come.
What was the first game?
The first game, see, they won 36 to 33 when the previous game, the previous game they played, that was in Washington. Now the game before that, let me see. I know the Eagles won. Let me see. The Eagles
and they won 36-33 without Jaden Hurts because they had to take him out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who did they bring in as the backup?
Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, KP.
And Kenny Pickett played great too.
Yeah, he really did.
Yeah, they played the first game, they won 26-18. The Eagles did.
Still close though.
Still close game.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like how we seen Washington put out Detroit. Or that I'm just the fact that the Washington Commanders won, but the score.
Yeah, and Jaden Daniels, he played great in that game. He still played.
And so did their defense. That defense ran all over Detroit. But people were saying coming into this game that Detroit's defense was banged up anyway. And the fact that they were as far as they were was just like, okay, good for y'all.
And I'm trying to. I don't know. Let me see if Marshawn. I don't know if Marshawn Lattimore played in that game that they played. Let me see. Because Marshawn Lattimore, they traded for him. Let me see if he played in that game.
Big trade, right?
That was a big time trade.
Yeah. And while you looking that up, then at 6:30 we got the Bills and Chiefs game. That's gonna be a good game as well. AFC West versus AFC East, East and West. Or no, are they North? AFC North. My bad. AFC North. I'm hoping the Bills go ahead and eliminate the Chiefs. I'm letting you know right now, unless the Commanders make it to the Super Bowl, say for instance, it's the Eagles and the Bills the Eagles and the Chiefs don't even worry about me watching it. I'm sick of the Chiefs.
Hey, I feel you. Hey, like I said, dude,
well, maybe because I want,
to beat a man, you got to beat the man. And
yeah, either way, so say for instance, if it's the Eagles versus the Chiefs, then I'm going to want the Eagles to win. If it's the Commanders versus the Chiefs, definitely Commanders. Anybody but the Chiefs and anybody but the Eagles, I guess. But if it's the Eagles still in there and they're playing, I'm going to root for them. So I'll go for the NFC if it's against the Chiefs. But if it's against the Bills and it's not Washington, I'm going to go for the Bills.
I feel you.
I'm
going for the Chiefs, and then I'm probably gonna go for, like I said, I'm going for Washington, but I know that outcome. I know what they wanted. Yeah. I know what the NFL want to see.
Yeah, they do. And that's how it is. And Super Bowl is set for February 9th at 6:30 p.m. Lots of big stuff going down up into that. We got a couple more weeks before that. Definitely going to be having some coverage that week. I'll be coming back in from my trip, so I'll be set up and ready to go. And Kevin and I'll probably do a little special edition, not necessarily after the Super Bowl because everybody kind of be just chillaxing and stuff, but maybe that Saturday or that weekend going up, we'll have a very special Friday with the fellas. That's going to be a 7th. Yeah, 7th. I actually come back from Hawaii that morning, so I'll be all set to go that night. But yeah, Kevin, big games, lots of good games, and Kevin and I, we're gonna wrap it up here. It's 11:07 on the East Coast. We hope everybody stays warm, stay safe, y'all. Kevin, any closing remarks?
No, man. I just want everybody to know to rise up. The Falcons, we're gonna be here next year. We're gonna be playing in these big games soon. So all the Falcons fans out there, I want y'all to just keep your head up. Keep your head up. We coming, baby. I promise.
Are y'all bringing Michael Penix? Is Michael Penix gonna be the one y'all bringing, or Kirk Cousins coming back?
Penix gonna be the guy, man. Michael Penix gonna be he gonna bring us to the promised land. So I need y'all to just keep y'all head up out there. We're gonna build this defense up, and we're gonna be out here. We're gonna be number one, man. We're gonna be number one in the NFC next year.
Y'all heard it here first. Kevin said they're gonna be first, even though Bryce has turned things around. I guess we'll let him have those nice closing remarks since I was, nice enough to ask him. Make sure you guys download the Roku app, and Kevin and I will wish you a good night. We will be back I'll be back Wednesday with Prim and Proper Sports with a special guest. And on Friday, we have the all new 2025 renewed Friday with the fellas. A-Train is back with us. J-Train, of course. And Kevin, I'm so excited to have everybody all back as one. A-Train been traveling a lot, taking on new jobs and stuff. So we're glad he finally can get his schedule together to rejoin us. And we will just, bid you all adieu. All right. Good night, guys.
Good night.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.